You've probably been there before. She walks away, and the world around you shatters. Your mind races. What do you do next? The usual playbook says you chase, you text her, you beg her for another shot. You think if you just show how much you care, she'll see things your way. But here's the twist. What if that isn't the answer? What if the most powerful thing you could do is not chase her at all? What if you just stand still, maintain your composure, and let her come to you? Now think about that. The idea of remaining indifferent after being rejected may seem foreign or even crazy, but what if I told you that this silence, this emotional control, could be the ultimate power you have in relationships? That's where Stoicism comes in. It teaches you not to be ruled by your emotions, to rise above the chaos and stay calm. It's the belief that by mastering your emotions, you not only gain inner peace, but also become a more attractive and powerful presence in any situation. So why is it that men, time and again, feel the urge to chase after rejection? It's as if we believe that showing vulnerability, pleading for another chance, will somehow change her mind. But what if the opposite is true? What if by giving in to that impulse, you're actually pushing her further away? This is where emotional control, inspired by Stoic wisdom, becomes a game changer. The idea is simple. Control your emotions. Don't let rejection dictate your actions, and watch how it shifts the dynamic of the relationship. In this video, we'll dive deep into the power of silence, how it can make you more desirable, and how emotional control can become your greatest strength. The next steps: learning how to stop chasing and start gaining respect and admiration through your calm composure. It's all about mastering yourself and letting that inner strength do the talking. Have you ever found yourself stuck in the endless loop of chasing after someone who's already made it clear they don't want to be chased? It's frustrating, right? You send that message, hoping for a response. Maybe you send another, just to make sure they saw it. And then, when you don't hear back, you start pleading, begging for another chance. It's a behavior so ingrained in us that it almost feels like it's the only option after rejection. But here's the thing. This chase mindset is a trap, and you're the one who ends up getting caught. We've all seen it in the movies, heard it in the songs, or been told by friends. If you love someone, you chase after them. If you're willing to fight for love, you show up and beg for it. Society has made us believe that this desperate pursuit is the ultimate sign of affection. But this idea, fueled by movies, media, and outdated societal norms, has twisted our view of what a healthy relationship really looks like. The reality is that love isn't about chasing after someone who's pulled away. It's about mutual respect, understanding, and most importantly, balance. What happens when you start chasing? You begin to double text, constantly wondering if they saw your last message. Maybe you send a few more just to keep the conversation alive. The desperation starts to show, and every time you do this, it's like you're lowering your own value. You see, when you beg for a chance, when you make yourself available at all costs, you start to lose respect in her eyes. Why? Because confidence and self-worth are two of the most attractive qualities a person can have. When you chase, you're signaling the opposite. You're showing neediness and desperation, traits that have the opposite effect. Instead of drawing her closer, you push her further away. Think about it. When you chase someone, you're not just putting yourself in a vulnerable position emotionally. You're also unintentionally setting a dangerous precedent. You're telling her that your happiness is dependent on her approval, and that's never a healthy place to be in. This creates an emotional imbalance. You're the one putting in all the effort, while she starts to withdraw, testing just how far you'll go to win her back. The more you chase, the more you feed into this cycle of manipulation, and soon you're the one left feeling exhausted, frustrated, and empty. Here's a hard truth. Women test men. It's not always malicious, but it's true. When a woman pulls away, she's not always doing it because she doesn't like you. She may be testing your level of interest or seeing if you'll chase after her. The question is, how do you respond? If you chase, you've just given her the answer she's looking for. You're emotionally dependent and will go to great lengths to seek validation from her. This is a major turn-off. Women are attracted to men who are independent, confident, and who have their own life outside of the relationship. When you chase, you show the opposite. You show that your world revolves around her. And that's not the kind of energy that attracts a healthy, balanced relate. So what are the consequences of all this chasing? Beyond the emotional toll it takes on you, it leaves you in a position where you're not really in control of the relationship. You're chasing validation, and the power dynamic shifts completely. This is where the attraction starts to fade. Women want a partner who has their own sense of purpose, who doesn't need constant reassurance to feel valuable. The moment you chase, you're telling her that you don't have that sense of self-worth. You might get her attention for a while, but it won't last because the foundation is shaky. Attraction isn't built on desperation. It's built on respect, independence, and emotional balance. If you really want to shift the dynamic and stop falling into the chase trap, the answer is simple. Stop chasing. Learn to focus on your own life, find your own value, and stop giving away all your power to someone else. Confidence comes from within, and when you start to recognize your own worth, that's when the real attraction starts to build. When you can remain calm, stay emotionally grounded, and resist the urge to chase, you'll start to notice how the dynamic changes. Instead of begging for her attention, you'll find that she starts to value you more. Because true attraction isn't about chasing after someone. It's about being the person someone wants to chase. What if the most powerful thing you could do in a relationship isn't to chase, beg, or explain yourself, but to simply remain silent? It may sound counterintuitive at first, but silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a tool of strength. Silence can speak louder than any words, and it holds a power that many people fail to recognize. When you choose silence over chasing, you're not retreating or giving up. You're asserting control, showing emotional independence, and shifting the entire power dynamic. When you remain silent after rejection or a distance in a relationship, you're not just withdrawing. You're communicating something far more important, that you don't need constant validation, and that you're not emotionally dependent on someone else's approval to feel good about yourself. Silence is a reflection of strength and confidence. It shows that you have a life outside of the relationship, a life that's not defined by someone else's attention or affection. When you don't immediately respond, don't chase after her, and don't beg for a second chance, you are proving that you can stand on your own. This shift in the power dynamic doesn't just affect you. It affects how she perceives you, too. Silence forces her to ask herself questions. Did I matter to him? Was I really as important as I thought? When you withhold your attention, when you stop chasing, her mind starts to wonder what you're doing, why you're not chasing her, and if she made a mistake. The longer you remain silent, the more doubt creeps in. She might even start questioning if she overlooked something special about you. By not showing desperation, you put her in a position where she begins to fill in the blanks. Your absence becomes more powerful than your presence, and she starts imagining a version of you that she can't have, one that's emotionally unavailable, independent, and confident. This is when she starts to feel the emotional impact of silence. It's no longer a simple matter of a lack of text messages or calls. It becomes an emotional void she can't fill. The psychological impact of silence is profound, especially when it comes to women. Women are not used to rejection or a lack of attention. The typical pattern is that when someone shows interest, they engage back. But when you break that pattern and pull away, it leaves them with a sense of uncertainty. They are used to knowing where they stand, and silence forces them to reconsider everything. When you don't chase or reach out, it forces her to question whether her decision was the right one. It creates doubt, and doubt can lead to regret. As her mind starts to replay the moments you spent together, she wonders what went wrong, why you're not chasing her, and whether she made a mistake in pushing you away. This is the psychological power of silence. It's a tool of detachment that's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about maintaining control of your emotions and not seeking validation from her. The art of detaching without looking back is one of the most powerful tools you can master. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about showing that your self-worth is not tied to her response or attention. When you can emotionally detach from someone's behavior, you're no longer at the mercy of their actions. You become emotionally self-sufficient, and that's when your confidence skyrockets. The silence, while powerful, is not a signal of weakness. Instead, it's the strength to focus on yourself, on your goals, your growth, and your own journey. Too often, people lose themselves in relationships, chasing the other person's attention or approval. But when you focus on yourself, you become a magnet for respect, admiration, and ultimately, attraction. The longer you focus on your own life, your own passions, and your own future, the less likely you are to fall into the trap of emotional dependency. You start to understand that your worth isn't defined by someone else's attention, and that is incredibly attractive. By practicing silence, you learn the art of not needing anyone's approval to feel good about yourself. You stop measuring your worth based on their actions or words. Instead, you find peace in knowing that you are enough, regardless of their behavior. This mental shift is liberating, and it opens the door to healthier, more balanced relationships in the future. Silence isn't just a tactic. It's a lifestyle that teaches you emotional control, self-respect, and independence. When you learn to embrace it, you stop chasing, stop begging, and start living in your own truth. And when you do that, you'll find that people, especially women, are drawn to your calm strength and emotional resilience. What if I told you that the secret to staying calm, confident, and in control in the face of emotional turmoil is not about constantly reacting or chasing after someone's affection? Instead, it's about adopting a mindset that teaches emotional resilience and inner peace. That mindset is Stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that focuses on mastering your emotions, remaining unaffected by external circumstances, and finding strength in self-control. While it may sound distant from everyday relationship dynamics, Stoicism holds incredible power when applied to the emotional roller coaster of dating and relationships. It's a strategy that helps you detach from the chaos of external validation, putting you in the driver's seat of your own life. So, what exactly is Stoicism? At its core, Stoicism is about emotional resilience, self-control, and mastering your inner peace. It teaches that while we can't control what happens to us in life, we do have control over how we respond. In relationships, this means not letting your emotions dictate your actions or your self-worth. Instead of reacting impulsively to rejection or emotional distance, Stoicism encourages you to stay grounded, maintain your dignity, and focus on things you can control, like your own growth and mindset. The key idea is that you should never be ruled by external circumstances, including the actions or feelings of others. By mastering your own emotions, you make it easier to stay balanced and composed, no matter what challenges or rejections you face. When it comes to relationships, applying Stoicism means understanding that you can't control how someone else feels or behaves. But what you can control is how you respond. You can control your reactions, your perspective, and your emotional state. This is where the power of Stoicism comes into play. Instead of obsessing over a woman's actions or waiting for her to text back, Stoicism teaches you to focus on yourself. Instead of desperately seeking external validation, it helps you recognize that your worth is not dependent on anyone's approval. You have the power to shape your emotions and behavior, regardless of what's happening around you. One of the central principles of Stoicism is this: focus on what you can control, yourself, your reactions, and your growth. In a relationship, this means that when a woman pulls away, instead of panicking or chasing after her, you focus on maintaining your emotional composure. You detach from the need for her validation and work on becoming the best version of yourself. You focus on your personal development, whether it's through hobbies, career goals, or building self-confidence. Stoicism encourages you to look inward, cultivate inner peace, and not rely on others to dictate your emotional state. This is especially powerful when it comes to rejection or emotional distance. When a woman pulls away or doesn't respond the way you expect, Stoicism helps you maintain your dignity and self-worth. You don't fall into a cycle of self-doubt or desperation. Instead, you understand that your value isn't determined by anyone's actions or words. This sense of inner confidence is incredibly attractive. Women respect men who are grounded, confident, and unshakable. Men who are not easily swayed by rejection or uncertainty. When you adopt a Stoic mindset, you are no longer emotionally at the mercy of another person's behavior. You have the emotional control to stay calm, focused, and purposeful, no matter what's happening in the relationship. And here's the most powerful part. Rejection becomes irrelevant when you understand that your value isn't tied to anyone else's approval. Stoicism helps you realize that your self-worth is intrinsic. It doesn't rely on whether or not a woman is interested in you or whether she's pulling away. When you understand that your value is rooted in who you are as a person, not in external validation, rejection stops feeling personal. It becomes just another part of life, one that you can accept and move past without losing your sense of self. This kind of emotional freedom is liberating. You stop chasing after someone else's approval and instead focus on becoming the best version of yourself without relying on anyone else to define your worth. By applying Stoic principles, you can build emotional resilience that makes you unshakable in the face of relationship challenges. Stoicism teaches you that while emotions are natural, they should not control you. When you learn to detach from the need for validation and embrace your own sense of self-worth, you gain a sense of peace and strength that will make you more attractive in the eyes of others. A man who is calm, self-assured, and in control of his emotions is a man who commands respect. And that is exactly what women are drawn to. So, by adopting the Stoic mindset, you not only learn to manage your emotions, but you also cultivate the kind of confidence and independence that makes you irresistible. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the more you chase, the more distant someone becomes? It's almost as if the more you give, the less they want. But what if I told you that this doesn't have to be the case? What if the key to maintaining and even increasing attraction is by holding back and not giving everything away right away? The truth is, women's attraction is often influenced by mystery and emotional instability, and you can use this to your advantage. It's fascinating how women are drawn to men who don't reveal everything about themselves. There's an undeniable power in leaving a little bit of mystery. When you give her something to wonder about, something to discover, it creates a sense of intrigue and keeps her coming back for more. This element of mystery taps into something deep within, an instinct to seek out the unknown and to feel as though there's more to uncover. Women aren't necessarily looking for men who put all their cards on the table right away. They crave the thrill of discovering more, of peeling back layers bit by bit. The moment you give everything away, the thrill of the chase fades, and so does the attraction. But when you hold back, you create a sense of excitement and uncertainty, which fuels her desire to know you better. One of the most powerful tools you can use in any relationship is unpredictability. The more unpredictable you are, the more you spark her curiosity. When you're consistent in your actions and always predictable, the excitement fades. But when you're slightly unpredictable, when you don't always respond immediately, or you take time to engage, she starts to wonder what's going on in your life. The unpredictability in your actions keeps her on her toes, making her think about you more, and even creating a bit of emotional tension. This emotional roller coaster can be addictive, and the more she feels this tension, the more she wants to resolve it. And the key to this dynamic is the power of being unavailable, both physically and emotionally. When you're not always available, you create a vacuum of desire. But the trick is to do this without seeming indifferent or cold. You don't want to appear as though you don't care, but rather like you have a full life, with or without her. When you step back, you force her to wonder about her decision to pull away. Suddenly she's left questioning if she made the right choice. The absence of your presence triggers something in her mind, making her start to reevaluate her actions. She begins to wonder if she made a mistake. This shift in her thinking is subtle, but powerful. The longer you remain absent, the more she starts to feel the absence of you in her life. She starts to question if the connection she had with you was worth giving up. And that's where the real power lies. When you withdraw, she's left wondering if she could have had something more with you. She starts to second-guess her decisions, and in doing so, she creates a sense of regret. What happens next? She thought she had the power, that she could control the situation. But now, by withdrawing your attention, she finds herself having to fight for it. It's a strange psychological shift, but it's incredibly effective. You were once the one chasing her, trying to win her affection, but now, by stopping the chase, you shift the power dynamic. When you stop chasing, she's left chasing instead. This shift is powerful because women are often drawn to men they can't have. The more you withhold, and the more emotionally unavailable you become, the more she feels the need to reclaim control. Her desire for you will grow, not because you're pushing for it, but because you've created an emotional void that she feels compelled to fill. As you continue to withdraw, you turn the tables. The more emotionally distant you become, the more she'll want to close the gap. It's almost like a game of cat and mouse, where the more you pull away, the more she'll try to pull you back in. Women want what they can't have, and the more unavailable you are, the more she'll find herself pursuing you, trying to win your attention back. It's a subtle psychological shift, but it's incredibly powerful. And when you stop chasing, That's when the shift really happens. The moment you stop chasing, she starts chasing you. It's a delicate balance, but by mastering this concept, you can transform your relationships and your own sense of self-control. Have you ever found yourself on the brink of reaching out just because she gave you the smallest sign of interest? Maybe it was a text, a fleeting glance, or a small gesture that made you think, maybe there's a chance. But here's the thing. Reaching out too soon, breaking your silence prematurely, can be one of the biggest mistakes you can make. You've worked hard to maintain your composure, to detach yourself emotionally, and then suddenly, you react impulsively. This is where things can go wrong. The moment you break your silence out of desperation or impatience, you lose all the power you've gained. Desperation is a dangerous emotion, and reacting out of it only weakens your position. Women are drawn to men who remain calm, composed, and in control of their emotions. When you react too soon, it signals to her that you're not emotionally resilient, that you're easily swayed by small gestures or attention. Instead, the true power lies in maintaining complete indifference. It's not about playing games, but about showing emotional resilience and stability. By not reacting, you create a vacuum, an emotional space where she starts to realize that she's no longer in control. This absence of attention, of validation, forces her to reconsider her actions. She starts to feel the loss of control over the situation, and that's when the real shift happens. It's crucial to understand that consistency is key. There are no second chances here. If you've made the decision to step back, to stop chasing, you must hold your ground. This isn't about playing with her emotions or trying to manipulate her. It's about maintaining your dignity and not letting emotional impulses dictate your behavior. The power you have comes from showing that your life continues, with or without her. You have your own path, your own goals, and you're not going to stop or change just because she pulls away or shows you a bit of attention. By demonstrating this consistency, you're showing that your worth isn't tied to her approval, and that you're not waiting around for her to come back. And here's the kicker. By maintaining this silence and emotional control, you set the stage for her regret. The longer you remain silent, the more she starts to feel the absence of your presence in her life. She might begin to reassess her feelings, wondering if she made a mistake by pulling away. When she sees that you're not chasing her, not scrambling to get her attention, the reality begins to set in. She realizes she's lost something valuable, something she can't easily get back, and this feeling of regret is what leads her to question her decisions. When you stop chasing, you stop putting yourself in a position where she feels she can control you. She starts to wonder, was she wrong to pull away? Did she let something good slip through her fingers? The power of silence lies in the fact that it forces her to deal with the emotional void you've created. Women are used to men pursuing them, chasing after them, and constantly validating their actions. But when you step back and stop chasing, it's a game changer. She'll begin to wonder if her actions were right, and the longer you remain silent, the more intense this self-doubt becomes. And in that silence, she might realize something crucial. She might have lost you. And when that realization hits, it can bring a wave of regret. She'll start to reassess everything, even her initial feelings, because she knows that she no longer has your attention at the snap of a finger. This shift, this realization of loss, often leads to the painful understanding that she may have made a mistake in pulling away. By never breaking the silence and staying consistent with your emotional control, you turn the tables. You stop being the one who is emotionally reactive, and instead, you become someone who is emotionally unyielding. And that unyielding nature, that strength, is what will eventually make her regret her decision to pull away. The power is in the silence, the absence, and the emotional control. The more you show that your life is moving forward, with or without her, the more she will begin to feel the weight of her actions. And that, my friend, is how you can shift the power dynamic in your favor. Imagine being the kind of man who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel good about himself. A man who walks into a room with the confidence that his worth isn't determined by what others think of him, and certainly not by a woman's attention or validation. This is the new you, the man who no longer seeks external validation for his happiness or self-worth. You're not relying on someone else to define your value because you already know who you are and what you bring to the table. You've become your own source of confidence and happiness, and that's the most attractive thing about you. When you shift your focus inward and prioritize self-growth, you become more attractive, not just in the eyes of others, but to yourself as well. By investing in your health, your career, and your personal development, you show that you're serious about your life and your goals. You're not waiting for anyone to complete you because you're already whole. You understand that true value comes from within, and the more you nurture yourself, the more you radiate that energy. Whether it's hitting the gym to improve your physical health, focusing on your career to advance your financial stability, or reading and learning to sharpen your mind. These investments in yourself make you a better, stronger, and more well-rounded individual. The Stoic mindset becomes the foundation of your new lifestyle. You learn to master your emotions, to remain calm and composed no matter what life throws at you. You no longer react impulsively to situations or people, because you've gained control over your thoughts and actions. The more you practice Stoicism, the more you become the kind of high-value man who stands firm in his beliefs and actions. You are no longer swayed by the whims of others, and your emotional resilience becomes one of your greatest assets. This is the ultimate power shift. When you stop relying on others to validate your worth, you become untouchable. You no longer care about someone's opinion of you, and because of that, you become magnetic. Women who once took you for granted now see you as rare, as something they can't easily have. They see you as a prize, a man who has mastered himself and doesn't need anyone to complete him. The moment you stop seeking validation from others is the moment you become the most desirable version of yourself. You've become a man who is so focused on his own growth that anyone else would have to work hard to earn a place in your life. And that, my friend, is the kind of man women can't resist. Think back to the man you were before, the one who would chase, who would seek validation, who thought that his worth depended on whether or not someone else wanted him. Now imagine a version of yourself who commands respect instead of seeking approval. You've made the transformation from a man who chases after attention to one who draws it effortlessly. You've stopped losing by simply stopping the chase. This shift, this powerful change, is the essence of emotional control and Stoicism. The final lesson here is simple but profound. Your value isn't defined by others. It comes from within. When you stop relying on external validation, you open the door to true self-respect and confidence. You become the kind of man who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel complete. You are already whole, already enough. And that's a game changer in any relationship. No one can take away from you what you've already mastered within yourself. The only thing left is to continue leveling up. This isn't about revenge or playing games. It's about becoming the man she regrets losing. Not because you've made her feel bad, but because you've become someone truly rare. You've leveled up in every sense of the word, and that growth shines through in everything you do. It's your actions, your self-control, your emotional mastery that make you irresistible. So, take the Stoic approach to heart. Implement it in your life, not just in relationships, but in all aspects of your journey. The path to becoming the best version of yourself starts now. If you want more insights on how to master your emotions, build resilience, and transform your life, subscribe for more content on self-improvement. Let's continue leveling up together.